What is anarchism? This question might stir up images of chaos or disorder in your mind, but let's clear the air. Anarchism is a political philosophy that advocates for a society free from hierarchical structures. It envisions a world without governments, rulers, or other forms of authority. Now, you might be wondering, how would such a society function? Well, anarchists believe in the principles of voluntary cooperation, mutual aid, and free association. They argue that individuals and communities, when free from centralized power, can organize themselves in a manner that promotes equality, liberty, and social justice. So, when you hear the term anarchism, don't immediately think of turmoil. Instead, think of a philosophy that champions the potential of humans to govern themselves, to live in harmony without the need for imposed authority. Therefore, anarchism isn't about chaos, but about fostering equality, liberty, and social justice. Journey back to the 19th century, and you'll find the roots of anarchism. This era was a time of rapid change, marked by the rise of industrialization, capitalism, and authoritarian governments. As the world transformed, a new philosophy emerged, one advocating for a society free from hierarchical structures: anarchism. This radical perspective was championed by early thinkers like Pierre-Joseph Proudhon, Mikhail Bakunin, and Peter Kropotkin. Proudhon, often recognized as the father of anarchism, introduced the concept of mutualism, envisioning an egalitarian society based on voluntary cooperation. Bakunin, a contemporary of Proudhon's, advanced collectivist anarchism, arguing for the collective ownership of means of production. Meanwhile, Kropotkin, a geographer and theorist, championed anarcho-communism, advocating for a stateless, communal society. Each of these figures contributed to the rich tapestry of anarchist thought, offering their own unique visions for a stateless society. In their collective wisdom, these thinkers laid the groundwork for a vision of a stateless society. Anarchism has left its mark on many movements throughout history. From labor movements to anti-authoritarian protests, the essence of anarchism has seeped into the heart of struggles for social justice and individual freedom. The 19th century labor movements, for instance, were heavily influenced by anarchist principles, advocating for workers' rights and challenging the power structures of their time. Moving into the 20th century, the fight against capitalism and authoritarian regimes saw the emergence of anti-capitalist and anti-authoritarian movements, their spirit echoing the anarchist call for a society free from hierarchical structures. And then there's the ongoing struggle for social justice and individual freedom, a struggle in which the principles of anarchism continue to play a significant role. Anarchist principles have also found their way into diverse movements such as feminism, environmentalism, and anti-globalization protests. Each of these movements, in their own way, embodies the anarchist ethos of voluntary cooperation, mutual aid, and free association. Despite its challenges, anarchism has been a driving force in numerous movements. Anarchism continues to inspire activism and political thought in our world today. This philosophy is not a relic of the past, but a living, breathing influence on a variety of grassroots movements. It's visible in the fight for indigenous rights, where communities are striving for self-governance and autonomy from state control. It's evident in the environmental protection movement, where activists decry the exploitation of the planet in the name of profit. It's palpable in the anti-capitalist activism, where people challenge the concentration of wealth and power in the hands of a few. Anarchist philosophy also sparks ongoing debates about the nature of power and authority. It urges us to consider alternative forms of social organization, where cooperation, mutual aid, and free association replace hierarchical structures. These discussions, though complex and often contentious, are vital for our understanding of society and our place within it. The spirit of anarchism lives on, pushing us to consider different perspectives and practices. Anarchism, a complex and diverse philosophy, remains a rich source of inspiration and debate. A call for a society without hierarchical structures, it emerged in the 19th century as a response to the rise of industrialization, capitalism, and authoritarian governments. Its founders, Proudhon, Bakunin, and Kropotkin, paved the way for different schools of anarchist thought, each envisioning a unique, stateless society. Anarchist principles have woven themselves into the fabric of various historical movements, from labor and anti-capitalist protests to struggles for social justice and individual freedom. Today, these principles continue to fuel activism and political discourse across the globe, underpinning the agendas of grassroots movements, advocating for indigenous rights, environmental protection, and anti-capitalist activism. Yet, the philosophy's emphasis on decentralization and rejection of centralized authority have led to diverse interpretations and approaches, culminating in a spectrum of perspectives within the broader anarchist movement. Anarchism challenges us to question power structures and consider alternatives, fostering a continuous dialogue about the potential for social change.